Hello, good evening, and welcome to another Kitchen Live. Don't think it's quite so wet and windy outside there this evening, but welcome to my Cotswold kitchen. My name is Lou. I am the dessert obsessed baker here at Crumbs and Corkscrews. And if you're joining on the Facebook channel, the Facebook page, the YouTube channel, or if you're watching back on replay, or if you're watching way in the future, thank you so much for being here this evening. If you are new to Crumbs and Corkscrews and Kitchen Live, well, what do? Well, as I said, I'm dessert obsessed, and my obsession is deliciously easy desserts. It doesn't matter if you're out there every week nailing a Hollywood handshake and star baker, or if you're absolutely new to the kitchen, desserts, or you just want to try something different. All my recipes we go through step by step, whether it's here on the live or over on the blog. And I can guarantee you will find something absolutely delicious and easy. And this evening, our delicious and easy is a Baileys Chocolate Mousse. I can't wait to share this one with you. It is so easy, and it is, oh my God, so indulgent. We are truly in the festive countdown now. Somebody said it's like 5 weeks the other day to me. It feels like it's probably not even less than that now. But we'll be really ramping into the festive recipes over the next couple of weeks. And I've got some crackers to share with you. So for the last 20 seconds, let all those notifications ping off in internet land. Grab yourself a coffee, maybe even a Baileys, get cozy and join me for about the next 60 minutes or so. We're going to get chocolatey, we're going to get creamy, we're going to get deliciously easy desserts at the end of this. And as it says let's bake, but hey, we're not baking today, so let's whisk maybe. Oh, it's going to be one of those days today, I can tell you. Oh, it's been one of those weeks. I hope everybody's having a good week or has had a good week. I mean, we're on Wednesday, so I hope it's the start of the week's been really good. And actually, you're going to have a really nice, gentle run into the weekend. Yeah. And actually, this is a really good one if you want to give it a try this weekend. I can't wait for this. Oh, I've gone the wrong way again. So we'll start off with just taking a quick walk through our recipe as usual. We are creating Baileys Chocolate Mousse. Baileys is absolutely synonymous with Christmas. The adverts are out on the telly already. The amazing Hannah Warrington is on there. She looks absolutely stunning, and they've got loads of lovely recipes on their website. They do have a recipe for mousse on the Baileys Chocolate website, on the Baileys Chocolate website. On the Baileys website, but this is a slightly different take on it, and we're going to be doing a few little bits and different bits and pieces to it. But yeah, it's still amazingly tasty. This recipe this evening tonight is going to make about 4 portions. It's really easy to double it up or pare it down depending on how many you want to serve, or even you cannot serve as bigger portions as I'm going to do. But so 4 to 6 people, I'm guessing. Skill level here is really easy. We're going to be doing a couple of different techniques, but they are really easy techniques. There is no faffing with any fancy equipment. We're just going to be using the basics like we usually do. Taste-wise, it's absolutely heavenly. We're going to get that rich chocolate and that indulgent Irish cream all coming together to work their magic. Absolutely tasty. And the pros of this is, well, we've just talked about it. It is absolutely simple, and it's irresistibly simple. You can't not make this one, trust me. It's almost the different techniques that we're using, although they're easy, is like you get that little bit of gourmet perfection in there. It tastes amazing in the, you like something you get in a restaurant. Well, I think so anyway. And we are going to be using basic ingredients. And like I said, there's no fancy equipment here. So they're all your pros. Cons wise, well, if you don't like Baileys, you can switch it out for a few other things. But the biggest con for me, it is absolutely dangerously delicious. if there's one in the fridge and it's not got a name on it, I'll just take a little bit of it. And by the time I've finished, I've realized that I've got halfway through it, it's too late. So just that one spoonful and you'll be into chocolate mousse heaven. So then what are we going to do? Ingredients wise, again this evening, a bit like last week, they are so simple. So I'm going to weigh these guys out as we go through. But as the name says, Baileys Chocolate Mousse, the star of our show, therefore, is our Baileys. Now, Baileys Irish Cream, Baileys Chocolate Mousse, but these can be quite expensive. This is on offer at the moment, and I think I got this on Prime Day the other week, so it's like a litre was a tenner, which is really good going. But you can use the cheaper dupes. I think this is Lidl's version, Dungallen Country Cream, Irish cream. So very similar. Excuse me. Aldi do one as well, as most of the supermarkets do. And these are just the standard ones, but you can also get different flavored ones. I've got a gingerbread one in the fridge. I think that came from Aldi. You can get minty ones now. When I was looking for different Baileys the other week, there was espresso, there's salted caramel, there's chocolate indulgence, so you can add more chocolate to your mousse if you want to. But what I'm trying to say here is it doesn't matter if you're using Baileys or an alternative, the recipe will still taste amazing as well. And I'm probably not going to use the Baileys this evening because it's not open. We'll finish this one first. I think the price difference as well is, nearly dropped it off. The price difference is quite significant. I think these sort of come in maybe about the £5 to £8 mark. What size is that? That's a 70 centilitre. And I think when Baileys isn't on offer, a 70 centilitre bottle of Baileys, you're looking around the £15 mark. So you can do this on a budget as well. So be using 100 millilitres of whichever Irish cream we're going to use. We're going to use dark chocolate for this. We're not using milk chocolate. Milk chocolate won't bring through that richness that we're looking for. Also, it's got a lot more added sugar and things like that. You want something with a higher cocoa solid content. So we're using dark chocolate. If you like really bitter dark chocolate, you can swap and go for that. But again, I'm using just simple basics. I love this. I was looking at dark chocolate the other day, and I'm like, the usual brand that I buy is quite expensive now, and I just wanted some chocolate to do some recipe testing with before I tested the ingredients. So I picked this up. This is Lidl's. They're 100-gram bars, dark chocolate. I think they were like 49p, 50p for 100 grams. So, if you are on a budget, this is great stuff. And I love it for baking and melting. It's perfect. And Aldi, again, do the same for like 40 to 50p for 100 grams. So we'll be using 200 grams of dark chocolate. We're also going to add a little bit of butter. So we're using salted butter, 15 grams of salted butter, or a knob of butter. Again, I'm using salted rather than unsalted because the salt will just help draw all those flavors out, make it lovely. This chocolate mousse is actually based on eggs. So there is a chocolate mousse on the website that it has no eggs in it. But this, we're going to use 4 medium eggs, and we're going to split the egg yolks out and whisk up the egg whites. You're perfectly fine to do this. If you feel uneasy about the eggs, not a problem at all. You can leave them out, or you can leave the yolks out and use the pasteurized egg whites that you can get in a carton. I think it's 2 chicks do it. They will work just as well. But if you are using eggs, you'll want 4 medium eggs at room temperature. We're not baking them, but we want them to be at room temperature because we're going to whisk those egg whites up later. So pop that over there. You're also going to want a little bit of caster sugar, just 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to use my vanilla caster sugar again today, but you can use regular white caster sugar. That's just going to add a little bit of extra sweetness to counteract the bitterness of the chocolate. Double cream, That's in the fridge at the moment. I want that to be nice and cold before I whisk it up. But we're using 300 mils of double cream, heavy cream or whipping cream, but no single cream, no light alternatives. We want that fat content, a bit like when we make the cheesecakes. We want the fat content in there. That's what's going to give our mousse the structure, but also that lovely richness. And just to add a little bit more chocolate, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And this is just your regular cocoa powder. It's not the extra dark or the intense. It's not drinking chocolate. It's just regular cocoa powder. So they're your ingredients. I've got hiccups today. I'm really sorry. For our equipment, then, we're going to be using, I'm going to use the stand mixer this evening just because I'm going to set things going and then I can keep talking to you. But you can use a hand mixer if you want to, as usual. If you're feeling strong, you can use a balloon whisk and do this all by hand. You've got to whisk the egg whites and the double cream, so use at least a hand mixer, please. We're going to be needing something to melt our chocolate in. I'm going to be using this with a bain-marie double boiler on the hob. You can do it in the microwave. So I'm going to use a small saucepan and then sit a heat-proof bowl with the chocolate in the top. You're also going to want another you might want a couple of bowls as we separate things out. And then all the usual accoutrements, your spatulas, your spoons, bits and pieces. And you can either put this together using piping bags or just spoon it out. So there's piping bags there on the list. And then last but not least, you're going to want something to put it in. I'm putting these into some like sort of whiskey shot tumblers. You can put it into dessert glasses, wine glasses. You can also make this as one big chocolate mousse and then just serve from that. So if you've got a nice big serving bowl, so you put it in the center of the table and then people help themselves. But I'm going to be doing mine in some glasses. I like these. These came from Amazon. I wasn't sure what they'd be like, and then they turned up. They're really nice. So that's our ingredients. That's our equipment. Now, let's get just stuck in, really, hadn't we? Oh, righty ho then. I've got my list. I've got my book. I've been doing a bit of testing the last couple of days, and so I've got lots of notes for you, lots of hints as we go through. But this, as I said, is a really easy recipe. There are, however, a couple of different steps that we're going to do along the way, and that you'll sort of, I wouldn't say they're big techniques because they're just techniques that we do, whisking egg whites, whisking cream, melting chocolate. But they are sort of, as we are creating desserts and baking or even just cooking, they are elements that are quite important to the overall finish of your dessert, your texture, your flavors. If you sort of, yes, you can just do them and see how it turns out. But there's a couple of little hints and tips that we'll be talking about, just where to take things to when you're heating and stuff like that. So what would I say? They're probably like basics, just key basics. I can't get my balls out. But first off, what we're going to do is we're going to melt our chocolate. We're going to get that going. And then we can start doing some other bits and pieces. And as I said, you can do this in the microwave if you want to. I do like melting my chocolate over a double boiler. So I'm going to put about 1 inch and so of water into my saucepan. And then I'm going to sit this bowl in it. When I sit the bowl in it to melt the chocolate, the key thing here is that the water is not touching the bottom of our bowl. If it's touching the bottom of the bowl as it heats up, it's going to heat our chocolate too quickly or to make it too hot. And what happens then, if you get that temperature of the chocolate too high, the cocoa solids that are in your chocolate solidify and you get that grainy texture. People, you see it referred to as your chocolate is seized. There are ways of bringing it back. I have hit and miss moments when I try and rectify my seized chocolate. So I'm not going to go there because I don't have a tried and tested always works method. The best method is don't let your chocolate seize in the first place. So I like this because I can keep an eye on it and control it. If you're doing this in the microwave, just pop your chocolate into your heat-proof bowl. And again, we don't have direct contact with the water this time, but what we'll do is we'll be heating it more directly. So when you are melting your chocolate in the microwave, do it in 30-second blasts. Take it to its 30-second blast, give it a stir, and then take it until it's almost melted. Then take it out of the microwave, and the residual heat that you have in the melted chocolate will melt the rest of it. And that's one of the ways of making sure your chocolate doesn't seize and you don't overheat it. So there. So what I'm just doing here is just breaking that chocolate into some more smaller chunks. This is 200 grams. There we go. Oh. Let's say this is just a basic cheap little chocolate. So you can do all these things on a budget as well. Oh, a bit of the old ASMR there on your chocolate packet. Right. So, like I say, I want about an inch or so of water in the bottom. Having that little water as well means it heats up quicker. You're not sat there waiting for hours for your chocolate to melt. So I'll sit that in there. It's not touching the water, and that's going to go on the hob then. Let's put it at the back. Smooth things out the way. On a medium to low heat. I don't want it to be, again, too hot when it's high when it's on the hob, because the heat from the flames can come round and then it'll heat the sides of the bowl. So low to medium flame if you're doing it there. If you're doing it in the microwave, remember 30-second blips on your on that. So whilst that's melting, we're going to add the butter when it's hot. We're going to look to our eggs. So let's move that out of the way. What we need today is we are going to use both parts of our eggs. We're going to use the yolks, and then we're going to use the egg whites. The egg whites we're going to whip up, and they're going to whip up so they're nice and light and airy. That's going to give us that really moussey texture along with the cream that we're going to whip. The egg yolks we're going to add to our chocolate mix when our chocolate is melted. And those egg yolks will give a really nice richness, smooth, and make it all smooth and silky as it combines with the butter and the chocolate that we have in there. So then, this is the bit where we get messy. Egg yolks in one bowl, egg whites in another. Watch me mix this up. We did separating the other week. So however you feel best, I've just done this the wrong way round, haven't I? I have another bowl for my egg yolks. Oh dear. Let's just make sure I've got all the whites off there. Egg yolk in there. There we go. Egg yolks. This is one where the egg has cracked a bit, not in the right place. So I said to you the other week, you know, you can do this by hand if you don't mind getting slimy. That's what we're doing. So I'm just filtering off the whites with my hand there, putting the yolk in that one. We will be washing all of this up. It's because when I cracked the egg yolk, I didn't quite have enough for it to sit in on the other side. Egg whites going. There's one. Let's get rid of that. And the last one. Oh! Quickly scoop it out. Luckily, it hadn't broken. Because we're going to whip our egg whites up, we don't want any yolk in there. That yolk, the fat from the yolk will sort of hinder us whisking the egg whites and making them nice and fluffy. So I wanted those in that. Never mind. So what I'm going to just do is put my egg whites in there. That's fine. We can still use that bowl for the egg yolks. We'll put that on there for the moment. I've got no dish today to put my, just lean it on that, my spatula on. So into our bowl then, we're going to add our egg yolks. And then we're going to add our sugar. So this is my vanilla sugar. If you remember last week, I make this just by putting vanilla pods into a jar and just keep adding the sugar on the top of it. You don't have to use vanilla sugar, just regular sugar if you want to. So I'm using 2 tablespoons and I'm using measuring spoons. If a recipe calls for tablespoons, measuring things with tablespoons, if you've got measuring spoons, please use them, because most of us have these. In fact, that actually probably is a tablespoon, but most of us will just use a standard spoon that we use in our cutlery drawer, and actually the volume difference is quite significant. So especially things when recipes say teaspoons, always don't use your coffee teaspoon because it is significantly smaller. Before we whisk that up, we're just going to check on this chocolate. That is melting away nicely there. Just going to give that a nudge up. So our sugar and our egg yolks, what we're going to do is we're going to whisk these together. Now you can do this with a fork or a spoon, but if you've got just a little hand whisk or yolk whisk, just do so. You just want it all to be mixed through. Make sure that the yolks are broken up. Give it a whisk through. The sugar sort of dissolves into the egg yolks then. Quite what on my elbow. So that's our egg yolks whisked up with our sugar. So I'm just going to pop them to one side. Just check this. Once the chocolate starts to melt, it will just go. So that's why I'm just going to check on it again. And when you are checking on your bain-marie, always make sure you're holding on to the pan, because if you start stirring and you catch it, you can take it with you, and you don't want to do that. No burns. So holding it just keeps it stable, allows you to just stir through there. Now that's not far off. I'm just going to give it a moment, a little bit longer. There we go. We'll get the trivet because we're going to bring it over. In the meantime, our egg, let me just wipe that. In the meantime, then, we're going to look at another technique. So our first technique here has been using the bain-marie for the chocolate. Our second technique then is whisking up our egg whites. I'm worried now that my chocolate's going to go quickly over. Let's just, should we just, yeah, it's nearly there. What I don't want to do is get into the egg whites and then have to stop for the chocolate. So just give me a moment. There we go. I'm going to stop that there. A bit like I just said with the, if you're doing it in the microwave, take it to a certain point and let it, let the residual heat cook. That's what we're doing here. So gently lift that off the top and do this with gloves or something, because that's been on boiling water and it will be very, very hot. And I'm just going to pour that into the sink so I don't knock that over. So this chocolate was almost melted. There's a few little bits in there, but what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to give it a stir round. I've got a trivet that says hot, and it's got a hole, obviously, in the O. And if you can get the bowl in the wrong place, it goes in the hole. So just give it a stir, and any chocolate that hasn't melted, the heat from that you've got in here now will melt that. What I'm going to do then, now, with the heat of that, is I'm going to add the butter. And that will melt as well with the heat from the chocolate that we have there. That butter is going to make it really lovely and rich, and it's going to work with the egg yolks to do. So just give it a stir. The heat will do its thing. We are going to get to the egg yolks in a minute, the egg whites in a minute, because there's a few things you need to do with the chocolate. So we've melted our chocolate, we've added our butter. Give it a stir round. It's nice and smooth and shiny. And then, it smells amazing already, and there's no Baileys near it. So for our cocoa powder then, we're going to add 2 tablespoons. I'm going to see, I might just add 1. I'm going to see what it's like. Cocoa powder, as we've said before, can be quite drying. It also gets all over your hands. So I don't want to add too much. So I'm just adding 1 at the moment. I'm going to stir it through. I might add another shortly. Actually, I don't think I'm going to for the moment. This sort of makes like a thick chocolate paste. And if you look on the website at the chocolate fudge cake, it's very similar. That is the most amazing, intense chocolatey cake. But this is our chocolate mixture. So for the moment, I'm not going to add any more cocoa powder. I don't want that to be too warm, because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add the egg yolks to this. But if I add the egg yolks now, I'm going to scramble the eggs from the heat. So I do want this to cool down a little bit. Just checking my notes to make sure I hadn't got anything else to tell you about that. On the website, which is for Easter eggs, and fill the Easter eggs, that's not got egg whites in or egg yolks in. It's just a whipped cream chocolate mousse. This is a French style chocolate mousse. Gives you that really richer, more intense chocolatey taste than just the whipped cream. So for the moment, egg yolks, egg and chocolate popped to one side. We've popped here the egg whites on. So this is a clean, grease-free bowl. People say wipe it down with a little bit of white vinegar or lemon. You can do, just make sure it's really super clean and things. And what we're going to do is I'm going to whisk this on a medium sort of setting for a couple of minutes. So I'm going to put that up at 4. And the reason we're doing it medium rather than fast is the sort of, if you whisk it up too much, if you whisk it up too fast, you know, the egg whites, the gluten, the protein strands in the egg white, they sort of become overworked. And the air bubbles that you're incorporating in there become, I don't know, a bit haphazard. They're a bit big or thing. By doing this on a medium sort of speed, and I'm going to take it up a little bit in a moment. I'm not going to go all the way up, but doing it on a medium speed, it just allows the protein strands and the egg whites to gently have a workout, gently sort of pull apart. And as they pull apart, the air comes in and those air bubbles sort of a bit more consistent, because we're not sort of trying to force them in on a high speed. And that's what gives this lovely, beautiful, airy, light mousse. And it's the same if you're making meringue. You want a really light meringue, do it on a medium speed. And you'll see your air bubbles combining there. I am going to take this up. I'm still on sort of a low speed, so I'm going to take it up a little bit more. And that's it. What we want to do is we want to take this to a soft peak for the consistency. So if we turn the bowl upside down, that classic one, don't know if I'm going to do it, it doesn't fall out. It stays in. It has structure. If it's not got the structure, when we add it to the mousse, our mousse will collapse. It will become runny. It won't set. And also, it can weep. And you might see that sometimes if you're making meringues, that it weeps a little bit. And that's because you've not taken the egg whites to serve enough for their structure. And it's those protein strands that we're doing. So this is lovely. What we'll then do next is we'll whip up our cream in a separate bowl. But whilst that's doing it, our chocolate has cooled down enough for me to handle it. That's a good sign. If you can pick your bowl up and you're not like juggling it and it's feeling hot, that's a good sign that your chocolate's at a good place. So I can get rid of that. See, this is the bit. It's hot. And then when I put it on and I mix, if the bowl falls into there, it's really awkward. So that's nice and going. This is our chocolate mixture here. Remember, we've melted 200 grams of chocolate, put 15 grams a knob of butter in it. We've added a teaspoon of cocoa powder. Now, what you can also do, and I haven't put it on the ingredients list because I keep it here as my secret weapon, is coffee. Now, I talk about this all the time when we make a chocolate cake or anything with chocolate. You don't have to add the coffee if you don't want to, but a fine micro-ground instant coffee. This is the Nescafe Alzira. Just a small smidgen of it is you're not bringing the coffee flavour through, but because it's not enough. But what it does is it enhances the chocolate flavour. So this time I am just using a coffee spoon rather than a teaspoon because I just want a little bit, and I'm going to add that in there. You don't have to add the coffee if you don't want to. So mix that through. I'm just going to stop this here. No, stop. What can happen if you're using a stand mixer and you're mixing egg whites is that you end up with egg white in the bottom that doesn't get whisked up. So with the spatula I used earlier, I'm just checking at the bottom that I've got nothing loose. Now, this is the right consistency. It's not wet. I might just give it a few moments, but if I pick that up, it is going to fall out. So I'm not, because I've just sort of made a bit of a mess with it. But what I'll do is just give it a final whisk. And you saw it was light. It was cloudy. It looked like the beautiful clouds on a summer's day. And so we'll just take that through for a moment. Don't over whisk it. Over whisking it will become sort of, again, you'll get a grainy texture. So come on. There's a little bit on a whisk that I don't want. I want in the thing. So I'm going to put this just briefly to one side because we need to use the mixer for mixing some cream up. There we go. So I'll put that there and just bring this one over. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll do the cream in a second. But so back to our chocolate. We've added the chocolate. We've melted the chocolate, added the butter, added a tablespoon of cocoa powder, regular cocoa powder, not drinking powder, drinking chocolate. We've added a tiny bit of microground coffee to enhance the chocolate flavour. We've got our whisked egg yolks and the sugar, and there is still enough heat in here to do what it needs to do for these eggs, but it's not hot, because if it was still hot and we added the eggs, it will scramble them, and that's not good. So add those in and just, you're going to start mixing it with this, and then I might see how this goes and switch over to a spoon. And we haven't done the Baileys yet, but we will be doing the Baileys, so bear with me. Right, so that's our eggs. It's all nice and shiny and glossy. Just get the last bit of the egg in there. There we go. So that's almost ready. Our egg whites are ready. The last bit then we need to do is our cream. And we're whipping this up. So we've got two whisk components. We've got the egg whites and the cream. Like I say, you can just do this with a regular whipped cream. You don't need to do the egg whites. But what I'm going to do is I'm using 300 millilitres now of the cream. My scales do liquid. Let's make sure it's on the right unit. So this is just regular double cream. I want 300 mils because I'm going to not add all of it into the mousse mixture. Heavy cream, double cream, whipping cream, not single, not light alternatives. I can't tell you about non-dairy alternatives because I haven't used them. And into here then we're going to add our Baileys. So we could be using the Baileys. I haven't opened this yet, so I'm going to use the Dungalgan country cream. I think it's either Aldi or no, this is Lidl. It's just as good. And I want 100 mils of this or 2 50 ml shots. 1, two. I'm just going to pop that there because I might add a touch to the chocolate as well. We're not adding too much alcohol because it won't set properly. The mousse won't set. So similar to our egg whites, we want to start this off on a gentle speed, allowing the air to come in. This time it's the fat that we're whisking up rather than the proteins. But we don't want to take it. We want it nice and light, soft peaks. We don't want it to go too dense and heavy. Because again, if you over whip double cream, it can feel a bit grainy in texture. So start this on low to medium, and then you can bring the speed up a little bit If you're doing it with a handheld mixer, you know, start it off one. I think mine goes 1 to 7. Start it off sort of midway and then work it. If you're doing it by hand, of course, you can, you know, you are the control. The reason we're talking about the egg whites and the cream is that these are key techniques to this mousse. Like I say, it is easy. We've whipped some cream and melted some chocolate and whipped some eggs, really. But getting that light, fluffy, moussey texture is all down to those 2 whisked ingredients. You need to whip it and whisk it, but we don't want to over mix it. Over mixing it, we can take it too grainy, but also can cause it to deflate. I'm just looking at my notes. So, you know, we don't want to be too aggressive with it. It's a light, airy mousse. We need to be a little bit light and airy with it as well. So that started off. I can see my air bubbles starting to form in my cream. So I'm just going to take this up another notch. Again, we're not going full to the top. And I think I can add a little bit of Baileys to this. I didn't add the Baileys when we melted the chocolate. I didn't add the Baileys when it came out. I didn't want to cook off the alcohol, so to speak, a bit like with the cooking our egg whites. So this time I'm just going to add a single shot, so 25 mils into there. And get rid of that so we don't add any more Baileys to it. Irish cream. You could, if you wanted to, and I know I saw some in the cupboard earlier. You could do this with Tia Maria. If you wanted to as well, get a coffee liqueur. Or, what's the amarula? Could work. The amarula, the African one. So, cream is whisking up. That is there. Let's just have a quick tidy up. I'm not going to add any more cocoa powder. 1 to 2 tablespoons, entirely up to you. See how you feel. I will give it a taste when it's all together. But let's just move some bits out of the way. Have a slurp of the coffee. Now, this is quick and easy to make if you're not drawing it out a bit like I am. So, I'm going to take that up again. And I'm going to separate off some of my cream. So, how will I do this? Let's find another bowl. The bowl that I use in. Let me just wash this one up quickly. I've got a nice hot bowl of soapy water. And I want to split. I want to get nice layers of mousse and cream. So that's why we've got more cream in here than we need. If you don't want the cream, if you don't want extra cream, equal quantities, 200 mils of chocolate or 200 mils of cream to 200 grams of chocolate. And just take that up. I love cream. Just a little bit of a waiting moment. Oh, keep doing that with it, not turning it off fully. That's not quite there yet, so I am just going a bit like our egg whites. Gonna make sure that's almost there, but it's a bit loose still. Oh. And you can see when you're whisking cream, you can see it start to become more stiff. I don't want it to, like I say, we don't want to go thick. We want it still to be nice and soft, but we want it to hold its shape. If it's too soft, the mousse will collapse. If it's too thick, the mousse will just be too much. There we go. This is perfect dolloping consistency. So yeah, see, whisking your eggs, whisking your cream, it's not that, it's not a huge amount to do it. Now, I'm just going to be really naughty. Baileys. Wash hands, Louise. Oh, cream and Baileys. Hello, Christmas. So I want to split a little bit of my cream off. So I'm just going to take roughly about just over a third, and I'm going to save the rest of my cream there. So we're finished with our mixer now. If you're doing this by hand, have a little bit of an arm rest. So this is where it all starts coming together. We have then our egg whites, our chocolate, that's our cream for later, and our cream. And what we need to do is gently mix together the chocolate and the cream, and then we're going to start folding in the egg whites. So I'm going to move this into an order so I don't get them mixed up. So this is our cream. And I'm going to add the chocolate and mix this now by hand with the spatula. I'm not going to whisk it again when I add the chocolate because I'll risk over whisking, over whipping. So this is our chocolate mixture, and this is our Baileys cream. Ian is home this evening. He's normally out on a Wednesday, so he'll be after all the bowls when he comes in for a walk. So this is our chocolate and our cream, and I'm just going to fold it together. We're going to talk folding when we do the eggs, but the best way of folding, this doesn't have to be with a spoon at this point, is to figure of 8. So round the bowl and come in, round the bowl and come in, and it just helps. Don't sort of sit there mixing it through, just fold it in until it's not streaky. We don't want to deflate our cream here. The cream won't deflate as much as our eggs will, so you can be a little bit sort of not rougher, but make sure. Look at that. It smells absolutely divine, I tell you. Make sure you've got everything from the bottom of your bowl. The urge just to put my face straight in here at the moment is something else. Let's try it. Yes. And then lastly, our egg whites. So I'm going to ditch the spatula for our egg whites. When we fold egg whites in, we don't want to deflate them. We're really careful about getting our egg whites nice and fluffy, letting the protein chill and those strands gently break rather than giving them a workout on top speed. Using a spatula or something like this is just going to start, it knocks out, it will start to knock out the air and you'll deflate. What I'm going to use is a tablespoon. Now, you'd normally use a bigger spoon than this, but I don't have any at the moment. I think they're all in the dishwasher. But the edge of a metal spoon will cut through easily as you fold those eggs into the mixture, and it will just mean that they combine really easily, but you're not knocking out any of that air. So that said, the first edition of egg whites, you do need to be quite brisk with it, is the word I've written in my notes. You know, this is still slightly warm with the chocolate. It's not hot, but it's slightly warm. So adding the egg whites to this when it's still a little bit warm can cause them to do all that grainy stuff again. So we're going to add our first amount of egg whites into here and be quite brisk with it. Oh, mix it, but be quite brisk. And then the second and third additions will be very gentle and fold it in. So we do it in thirds, and thirds is a good way because it means that you do that brisk one and then you do 2 more additions. So you know, if you're knocking out air on the first one by accident, you can incorporate some more back in. We don't do it in lots of additions of egg white because you then really do increase the odds of you deflating it because you're doing more folding, more mixing. So adding your egg whites as thirds is best. So I'm just going to give it an eyeball. There we go. It's kind of left-handed. I say, I'm going to fold this in brisk. And that figure of 8 movement. Don't worry if it looks like it's deflating. Like I say, we're being brisk with this first edition because we don't want it to get grainy. We want to keep that smooth texture. Remember, figure of 8. Round, scrape the outside and bring it in. Scrape the outside and bring it in. There we go. Oh. Does anyone remember like aero mousses in the 80s? They were amazing. I don't want to do is no, that's fine. I was a bit worried, but I don't. All my egg white is going in here, so it doesn't matter if I get chocolate in here. So I'm going to take another third of white. And this time we fold in. I know my camera's going to go in a minute, but fold in gently. My mother's on the old family messaging today. I've had several messages. Anybody else, when you're doing something, if you're on a call at work or your watch starts buzzing, normally my mum. Hi, mum. So as you're folding this in and being more gentle with it, you do want to make sure that it's not streaky, that you're getting all that egg white in. And the volume of your chocolate and cream mix will increase. I'm just going to push the button whilst I think about it, so we don't lose this in a second. And then I've got my last third of egg whites in here. Get them all in. And then our final fold. Just give a check through. There we go. And that's it. That is our chocolate mousse. So if you wanted to, you can, we need to scrape that down. Let's use that one. That's fine, it's just chocolate. If you wanted to, you can now just pour this into a very large bowl and serve it, set it. We can put them there because we need them. You then set it in the fridge. We're going to pipe ours into some glasses. And layer it up with some cream. So we now need our chocolate mousse and our cream. Piping bags, you don't have to pipe this. In fact, you could just spoon it. Shall we just spoon it? Shall we lose one less piece of equipment and less things to wash up? Let's not use the piping bags. Let's get some spoons. I am going to be a bit finicky because I'm going to weigh everything out. But you can pipe this if you want, but I'm gonna layer it up. What's really lovely, and I haven't got any, and I thought about it just before we came on air, is you could line the base with some Oreo crumbs or something like that. Oreos go really well with the Baileys because the cocoa. Or some shortbread, some Christmas shortbread. Say the cranberry and white chocolate, but I don't think that would work. But chocolate chip shortbread or just crumbled up shortbread would be really nice. Give you a base. Not a base like a cheesecake, but just something to add a little different texture in. So then, because I'm going to be pedantic and weigh things out, I've got my cream, I've got my glasses, I've got my chocolate mousse. So into here, there's quite a lot. I'm going to add. I'll tidy it up afterwards. That's 50 grams. These are rustic. That's what I always say when it doesn't look quite as I imagine it. Do you know what? It's mousse. It smells utterly divine. Oh, it does smell heavenly. And there's enough mousse here that I know Ian can have some tonight and he'll be happy. He'll be a happy boy. So I don't need that for the moment. Let's get rid of that. So in here now, let's get some kitchen roll. I'm going to add a spoon of cream to each one. Oop, she says. Need another. Okay, you need a lot of spoons for this if you're doing it this way. Okay, so I'm going to get 2 layers of chocolate mousse, 2 layers of cream. You can level this off if you want, you know, just level it off with your spoons. Teaspoon, that would be. But let's say we're going to just tap it round. You can be a lot neater if you're serving it for Christmas, but like I say, use the piping bag. But this is how easy it can be. And we're going to add some more mousse now. Let's level that off. So I've put 50 grams in, some cream and another 50 grams. And I have loads of mousse left. So I've really whipped this up nicely today. I've got plenty. So my estimate of it normally doing 4, I probably get another 3 maybe out of that. What I do want to do, I'm going to be nifty, is tap it down. I'm just going to level over the top with a spoon. I literally want to throw my face in here because it smells incredible. I'm going to put this to one side. And then we're just going to top off I can't do a quenelle, so don't ask me to. I'm going to top off with some cream. There we go. I'm just going to level that off. That's Ian home. It's so light as I move it around. Oh. This one hasn't got quite enough cream on. Let's see if I can get him some out of here. No, I haven't got quite enough cream for this one, but that's the one we'll taste test in a second. They say they're not perfect looking, but these are the rustic version. I've got spoons of chocolate mousse. Oh my God, it's so light. Don't forget, I've got a significant amount. I'll make some prettier ones with that. But you might then you could sprinkle it with some shaved chocolate. I've got just some chocolate sprinkles. What have I got Baileys? What have I got Baileys in the cupboard? Oh, I don't know, that Oreo wafers, but you can get like a Baileys wafer, like like the Milky Way wafers that got the cream in the center. You can get those, or Baileys truffles, top them on top. But yeah, a little sprig of mint. These are not pretty looking, but I've gone for rustic this evening. These go into the fridge now for about 4 to 6 hours to firm up. You can eat them now. They are really, really light. We are going to try it. I'm going to try that one. But I'm going to pop these in the fridge. Apparently, we don't have any room in the fridge, and that is quite true. Oh, dear. Let's just find some room for these. One here, one there. Squeeze one in. And I'm going to taste test this as I tell you guys about a recap. I need a spoon, don't I? So not only have we just made a mess this evening, we have made, I can't wait to try this because I've been smelling it for ages, Baileys Chocolate Mousse. This is layered up. The picture is what they should look like. This is me being rustic this evening. Serves 4. Well, we whisked up really well and nice and light. Added that volume, so it makes your mousse go a little bit further. So it's probably going to serve about 4 to 6, 4 to 8. Oh, thank you, Barbara. I've been drooling for the last hour as well. These taste absolutely heavenly. I'm just going to take bye. Me and the Baileys Mousse just going to go sit in the corner. It is. I say it's heavenly. It tastes so light. It's so moussey and fluffy. You've got the rich chocolate. You've got the Baileys Irish cream in there. And you've just got the cream and you've got the richness from the butter and the egg yolks that bring it through. Yes, it's taken me a long time because I've talked you through all the steps and the different reasons we've done things and why we've done it to make sure you get the perfect chocolate mousse. But it is absolutely irresistibly simple to make, gourmet perfection. This does taste like the best chocolate mousse I've had. Where have I had that? I've had a Raymond Blanc chocolate mousse. It tastes as good as that. There are basic ingredients that are no fancy equipment. You know, that is the absolute pro of this. It is deliciously easy. Dangerously delicious. One spoonful, and it's hard to present anymore. I've taken one spoonful of this, and I'm desperate to get the spoon back in there at the moment. Not going to. I'm going to be good. Need to have my dinner first. Ingredients wise, we've run down. We've got the Baileys Irish cream in there, but don't forget you can use store, Aldi, Lidl, any of the supermarket own brand style Irish creams. They work just as well. I've used the Lidl one today because I didn't want to open the Baileys while we still have this one open. It tastes just as heavenly. We've got 200 grams of dark chocolate. I've used again cheap Lidl dark chocolate. Remember, dark chocolate, not milk chocolate. The milk chocolate has too much fat and sugar in there and it's not going to set. You're also not going to get that richness that you get from the dark chocolate. A little bit of salted butter. You can use unsalted if you want, but the salt will just bring out all those flavors a little bit more. That makes your chocolate nice and glossy. 4 eggs. We split those up. We use the yolks with the chocolate, give that richness, and then we whip the egg whites up to make our lovely airy mousse. We whisked the egg yolks with a little bit of sugar. That sugar, we're only adding a bit of sugar. Yes, I know the chocolate and everything else has sugar in it, but the tablespoons of sugar just help take the edge off the bitterness of the chocolate because we're using a dark chocolate. 300 milliliters of double cream. Remember, double, heavy or whipping cream. No singles, no light alternatives. We want that fat content here. That's also what helps with the structure. And 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Now I only used 1 because when I added it in I thought didn't want to add too much more. Cocoa powder can be drying, so you can use 1 or 2 at your discretion. Equipment wise, stand mixer or a hand mixer, whatever you've got, you know, that makes it quick and easy for you. If you're using a hand mixer or you're doing by hand, you'll need a large mixing bowl. You'll also need a small saucepan if you're using a bain-marie, or a small heat proof bowl, or if you're melting your chocolate in your microwave, it's just a small heat proof bowl. Rubber spatulas, piping bags if you don't want to do the rustic style, and obviously something to serve it in. And that's it. Basic ingredients, basic equipment. I'm going to have 1 more scoop. It's because it's... Oh, God. So good. Trust me, make it. We have set the mousse in the fridge. You can serve this now if you want to, but set it a little bit. Allow it to set just a little bit. The best thing is that this is not really a make days in advance. You can make it the night before and serve it the following day. You can make it in the morning, serve it the following evening. You want to chill for about 4 to 6 hours best, or overnight. But any longer than that, if you leave it for days and days and days in the fridge, the fats and the chocolate, the butter, the cream, they will start to get heavy again. It will become quite a thick, heavier texture. It firms up. So as the cocoa butter firms in the fridge, so you want it just to chill for about 4 to 6 hours is best. So you make it in the morning and serve it in the afternoon. I'm just looking at my notes, seeing if there's anything else I need to tell you. No, as always, I am, ladies and gentlemen, in the middle of writing up loads of recipes. I have a quiet weekend this weekend, so I'm gonna get some done hopefully this weekend. Got loads more pictures to take, loads more chocolate mousse to eat as well. But when there is, I will let you know. The full recipe will be at crumbsandcorkscrews.com. You can find my non-egg easy chocolate mousse version if you want, which is just the chocolate and the whipped cream. You'll find that I think I use that for Easter eggs. Putting chocolate mousse and Easter eggs. So you can find that there if you do want to, or you can use the ingredients and the information that you've got in this video, make it before the post goes live. Ta-da! And on that note, so I can take another scoop, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me on a Wednesday evening. I hope you're nice and curled up and cozy in front of a fire with a coffee, maybe with a Baileys. Is it Baileys time? It's 20 to 8. If you had dinner, you can have a Baileys. But thank you very much for watching and joining me, and your company as always on Wednesday night. Next week, unless I change my mind and put it out to the vote, we're really in the festive spirit now. We're going to do puff pastry mince pies. It's a little take on a mince pie. You know, it's not just a standard mince pie. We're not going to be making puff pastry. I've made puff pastry. It's great to make, but it is long. And even Jamie Oliver buys ready-made puff pastry. So we'll be using a ready-made puff pastry to make mince pies next week, because I'm so ready for mince pie. And I put the vote out, and everybody on Instagram and Facebook said, no, you can eat one now, but I just can't bring myself to do it. But next week, I think it's the 30th, and then we're into December. So I thought we can do mince pies next week because we're nearly in December. Yay! So thank you very much for watching. Coming up next week is puff pastry mince pies. My name has been Lou. I have been your dessert obsessed baker here at Crumbs and Corkscrews. I hope wherever you are in the world, please look after yourself, look after each other, take care, and I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.